Gravity of Fall to now. Do I walk through the bass players?
Gravity of Fall is pretty interesting because we were like doing this whole revolving thing with bass players, man. Like that was kind of a hard thing to find.
I think we got 3 different bass players.
Which one's your favorite? It's gotta be me, right?
I can't remember his name.
Okay, so, oh my God, this is going great.
He's still in the band, I just can't remember his name.
First question, why are you so sexy?
It's genetic.
Can you confirm or deny the rumors that you're Prince Harry?
Shut up, Megan.
So from Gravity of Fall until now, I feel like it's been so long. It's been so many years. I'm really bad with time. It's like, how many years has it been? Gravity of Fall,
I'm a drummer.
So when we released Gravity of Fall, we were truly kids. I mean, we were mostly just out of college. Some of us, I think, were still in college. We didn't have a solid bass player. We're still really proud of that record. Some of the songs are still some of our favorite songs to play live, but we've matured so much as a band since then. We figured things out that we couldn't have even fathomed at that time.
I met everybody when we did a video shoot for Sky Set Ablaze.
I think that our music has gotten a lot more mature as we've gotten more mature, and in some cases less mature, but you know, that's tour life. We'll get to that later.
Let's pass on the first question. I don't have a good answer for that one.
I would say, you know, Gravity of Fall, you know, I'm from Portland. Most of the other people live down in like Albany. And I don't think that many people, I don't think they had played Portland that much yet. So I would say Gravity of the Fall was really the band establishing themselves in Oregon, in Portland, and kind of getting feet on the ground. You know, we did a small tour. We learned a lot on that small tour. And then, you know, we had a lot of practice. We did, I think, like four or five music videos for Gravity Fall songs. And then we were shifting gears to Illuminated, and we were trying to step it up on the production, on the music videos, the songwriting, just really trying to, you know, level ourselves up and do more and get better. So I think that happened. So Illuminated, we dropped the single that came out. It was a really fun music video to make. And then M-Theory reached out, and we signed with M-Theory. And we also did 2 tours behind Illuminated, which was just honestly really incredible. I would say our second tour, we got good. You know, we were doing pretty good before, but we started to get above, you know, noticeably better than we were before. I mean, it was just like night and day difference. We got really tight. Things were gelling live. Like people were headbanging in the right spots. You know, it was just really good.
VINTERSEA has come a long way from when we were just in our various garages and, you know, bedrooms making music. And at this point, we're actually out there. We're meeting people. We're playing with bands who have been our heroes for years. And it's really exciting to be in VINTERSEA right now.
Probably was Crack of Light because there was the most suffering involved. Barefoot on that hard Scrabble for hours was pretty tough on the tender feet, but I think at the end we had a really epic video.
The most exhausting music video to film was possibly Befallen. I don't know if it's the hardest, but it was so much packing gear around, constantly up and down stairs, getting up to the cooling towers, into reactor chambers. But I don't know if it's the most difficult because, like everyone else I'm sure is gonna say, Crack of Light was just a beast.
So the hardest music video to film by far was Crack a Light. We had a couple impossible tasks on that. So, you know, we typically, I'd say, dream big on the music videos, and then reality sets in where you don't have, you know, everybody's busy, so the schedules are tight. You don't have unlimited money. And, you know, when you make music videos, you never know how big they're gonna go, so you don't wanna blow your budget and maybe not tour because you spend too much money on music videos. But the pandemic hit, and it busted our touring plans up. So we said, okay, well, rather than be sad, let's take that energy and all that time and let's put it towards a music video for Crack a Light. You know, we built a 20-foot boat in my front yard on the side yard. And then we had to rent a trailer and drive it like 800 miles to the desert in southeastern Oregon. We also built a 40-foot infinity pool, kind of like out of Stranger Things. So that was like a half inch of water for about 40 by 40 feet. And that was a lot of work to make all of that music video happen. Getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go down to Bend. I mean, there's just so many moving pieces. We shot a lot of stuff here in my garage for the interior of the boat. So I think we nailed it, and I'm super proud of that video. But wow, that was a lot of work.
So a couple of music videos have been pretty difficult to film. Probably the one that everyone in the band is going to talk about is Crack of Light. That was a monumental effort for sure. Karl put just an insane amount of time into that. All of us got together for these writing sessions and planning sessions. It really took several weeks and months during the pandemic to plan it out. I'm sure everyone's talked about. We built a 20-foot boat. We hauled it out to the desert. We got to film under the stars. We got to deal with the elements. And it really was a huge effort from everyone. I think for me, though, personally, the hardest video to film was Befallen. We got to go to a really cool place, the SATSUP nuclear facility up in Elma, Washington, but it was a bear to haul all of our gear from place to place. We were set up in 3 or 4 different locations where we had to pull our gear across, football field long corridors, and it was a big project to get up there. But the results really came out. And, as it turns out, of course, Befallen and Crack of Light are probably my 2 favorite music videos. So I guess it was worth the effort.
I feel like as a group, the hardest music video to film, but also the most fun, was Crack of Light, because we built a huge boat that was like 20 feet long. We brought it to the desert, and it actually stayed intact. And we stayed out there in the desert, and it was definitely a really weird experience to try to pee in the desert. Oh, and also the hardest music video to film as my own person was Illuminated, because it was a day that Karl and we went out to shoot, and we went out to Mount Hood, and it was snowing, and we just spent all day outside in the winter time, and I was just wearing a strapless dress. So I really wasn't wearing much out when it was snowing out, and I was walking barefoot on the snow. And I remember at the end of the day, it was still snowing, and it was so sketchy, and thankfully we were behind this snowplow, so it made driving a little bit easier, but even then it was kind of sketchy because the roads were getting really slippery, it was getting really dark, and at the end of the day, we kind of shot in front of his car. So Karl had his lights on, and I shot in front of it, and the only light source was Karl's car.
So I learned a hard lesson this last tour. You can't drink more than a serving of Pedialyte in one sitting. And it was right before the Hollywood gig. Guitar Center on Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard. It's great facilities. Great facilities. The, what was the venue? Oh, Viper Room. Not the best facilities, but they did the job. And I was light as a feather for that gig, I gotta say.
I thought the blowout was pretty sweet. We had a blowout somewhere in California. Just the tire just went kapiff and blew its guts all over the place. But that was part A of the crazy bit. The next crazy part was it was the last show of that tour, of the Uncertain Hour tour. And Avienne happened to just sort of mention it offhand to the crowd, we almost didn't make it because of that stupid tire blowout, and some amazing person donated a fair amount of money to help us get new tires the next day, which is so appreciated. So whoever you are, thank you so much.
I would say people rowing during our set in Oakland. We had just an amazing reaction this entire last tour. I got to hang out with so many friends, and it was just awesome. And, we're playing, and it's a new city. We had never played Oakland before, hadn't been around there. And we had people drive 3-4 hours to come see us. And we had one friend bring a couple bottles of like really, really fancy alcohol. Thank you, Jeremy. But, we start playing the set, and just great energy all the way around. All the bands were amazing. The venue was awesome. And, just having a blast, headbanging. Everything's are going great. And then I look up and I see something I've never seen at one of our sets, which was people rowing Amon Amarth style during one of our songs that was a sea shanty. And I was like, it felt so good. So everyone who was doing that, thank you. That was a new experience. That was great.
The craziest moment while touring was actually during our last tour, where it was just, we dubbed it the Hottest Balls Tour, very affectionately named because it was hottest balls. Even the first day, I think it was in Tulare, and it was 110 degrees out the first day. And we went from Portland to California. I think it was like a 9-hour drive for the first day. And then we did a bunch of touring, and then we went back up north. And then for the last day, we drove 9 hours back down, and it was so hot that our tires melted, and it melted onto the road. And I think it was like 2 or 3 hours before the gig, we had like a complete blowout, and we weren't even sure that we were going to make it. We made it, like rock and roll. The show went on, we were able to make it to our last show.
So the craziest moment we had touring was when we were heading back down to Sacramento at the last day of the tour, and on the freeway, I was driving, by the way, suddenly it started to feel like the wind was really pushing me hard from side to side. Jeremy wasn't so convinced that that's what was happening, but I felt pretty confident I could just drive through it. Turned out that we had a baseball-sized bubble on the side of our tire that was about to explode in the 115-degree desert heat. So when that went out, that was pretty fun. I got to very quickly pull over to the side of the road, and we had to figure out how to get to the show, which we did. Unbelievably, we actually made it to the show just a few hours later, and then people in the audience basically bought our new tires, which was just incredible. One very generous donation, and then a lot of other people who helped out too. But that was a pretty intense moment on tour. It's the kind of story that you definitely start to collect when you spend some time on the road.